You gringos never get Brazil right in media. You always screw it up. Can we talk about the lesbian native vampires in Twilight? Because I can't stop thinking about the lesbian native vampires from Twilight. But one thing that I did stop thinking about is Rio. You know, with the Arara Azul. Or Blue Macaw for the uncultured. I watched it in theaters back when it came out in 2011, and then never again. I remember liking it, but I didn't remember anything else. But the thought came to me, did they get it right? Because honestly, I didn't recall being enraged by anything at the time, but also I was 15, so I didn't know all that much. Now I'm older and wiser and jaded and much more prone to seeing this flick for what it truly is. So I decided to revisit the movie with a Brazilian eye and see how much of it you Americans actually got right. And let me tell you, I came into this experience feeling super skeptical. I was ready to tear this thing apart, to nitpick at even the slightest hint of misrepresentation. I was guided by the burning fires of hatred and pettiness. Because the thing about how international media sees us is that we're always reduced to the same 4 things: Rio, samba, soccer, and jungle. And this movie opens with 2 of those things, as the birds of Rio all dance to a samba number together, and I was like, oh great, here we go. But then the story gets going, and it's like, oh wow, they get it. And then the characters start trying to speak Portuguese, and it's like, oh, they don't get it. And who's this they I keep talking about? How did they pull this off? How did you gringos make a movie about Brazil that is so accurate but so flawed in its representation? And why am I even talking about this? All of this and more will be answered in due time. For now, fly with me through the heart of the rainforest because I want to talk about Rio. Rio is a 2011 movie released by Blue Sky Studios. It opens with a jungle scene where all of the birds are singing and dancing to samba, and oh boy, here we go. We get it. That's all we'll ever be to you. But no, the song's actually really good. Wow, yeah, it's getting to me. It actually got nominated for an Oscar, and it totally deserved it because this slaps. This little blue macaw here is blue, without the E, and he is poached straight from his home tree and finds himself in Minnesota, where this girl rescues him and raises him. Years later, Blue has grown into a healthy but flightless bird, lovingly cared for but very much domesticated. That's when this guy shows up, telling Blue's owner that Blue is the last male blue macaw on the planet, and he has to travel to Rio so that he can mate with the last female, a feisty bird named Jewel. This guy is called Tulio, and he really caught me off guard because his character is supposed to be Brazilian, but he didn't sound Brazilian. He had a bit of an accent, sure, but I teach English as a second language to Brazilian students, and native Brazilian speakers have a very specific accent to them, which this man was not exhibiting. I was ready to rant about this, but then I looked the actor up, and no, he's an actual Brazilian voice actor and celebrity. Rodrigo Santoro even has a bit of a history of acting in American movies by speaking in English and then doing the dubbing for his own character in the Portuguese version. They fly to Rio, and it's pretty much what you would expect, and by that I mean summer and beaches and carnaval. It just so happens that this plot is taking place during the Carnaval holiday, and if you don't know what that is, then please go watch a YouTube video about it or something, man. Come on. There's half-naked people covered in glitter on screen, and I'm sorry to say this is not that inaccurate. And like, here's the thing. I don't live in Rio. I'm actually from São Paulo, And believe it or not, there's more than one possible Brazilian experience. And this movie is playing into a very stereotypical one, with the street parties and the dancers and the fun in the sun, which is really not boding well for my skeptical viewing experience. It's not nice to have your entire culture be reduced to some overdone stereotype, no matter how colorful they try to make it. And geez, the birds are stolen by a kid working for a smuggler. Because, of course, Brazil is all about crime and animal trafficking. And, of course, the poacher's base is on the favela. Because that's basically where all the criminality comes from. They think they have it all figured out. But, wow, this really looks like a Brazilian favela. And the kid brings the birds over to the evil antagonistic crime lord, and he pays the kid 2 reais. 2 whole reais. And this is where I lost all skepticism. First of all, that's the 1 real bill, with the hummingbird. We don't even use these anymore, they've been out of circulation since 2014, but I remember seeing this in theaters and being so strangely pumped, and the same feeling is hitting me now. That's a member of the family right there. That's not some generic animated nondescript dollar bill, that's our actual currency. And 2 reais? That's nothing. Nothing! At the time of this movie's release, 2 reais was 1 American dollar. At the time of the release of this video, 2 reais is 30 American cents. This kid is stealing the last 2 blue macaws on the planet, and this isn't some high-stakes heist. It's small. It's almost petty crime. It's such low-level burglary. And it's being carried out by a kid who has so little that 2 reais feels like a lot. There's a comment about how the antagonist had promised him double that, and even then, it would just be 4 reais. That wouldn't even buy him lunch. That was a bus ticket. And the kid didn't even get that much. This is a sort of truth about my country that is so hard to face. The sheer inequality and disparity and the lengths it will drive people to. The rawness of the scene hit me then, and it hits me now, and I don't know if it hits for people outside of Brazil. I don't think you guys get it. But, I mean, you had to get it, right? Because you put it in the movie? Oh, I'll talk about that later. Then these 2 characters go to a churrascaria, which is another thing that we're known for, and yes, they're served picanha, but also chicken hearts? They're eating chicken hearts? Coração de galinha in my American movie? I'm losing my mind. Nobody ever talks about that. And they are such a churrascaria staple. You don't even gotta go to a barbecue house to eat them though. You can prepare them at home. Just saute them on a pan with some onions and garlic on hot oil and serve them with rice and beans? That's a square meal right there. And hey, the chairs! The plastic red beach chairs! Oh my god, they should have put a beer logo on the tabletop. And the saguis! Those are everywhere and they are so cute! This movie did them real dirty. They're not criminals, they're just little guys. I swear, I tried getting some footage of the saguis in my neighborhood for this video, but they didn't show up, mas vira e mexe tem uns. And they go to this garage door, and the sign! The no parking sign! With the crossed out E! Oh my god! It's like I'm seeing an old friend on screen. Man, it's these little details that really get me. It's not about Carnaval, or the city of Rio, or the beaches, or the samba. It's the fact that this garage door looks like something I would find on any street a block away from my place. And they have the little no parking sign with the crossed out E. This isn't some American octagonal stop sign deal. It's the parking sign I see every day, anywhere I look. And it's here, in an American movie. It's how, when there's a romantic scene, the road is paved with Ipê rosa, the Brazilian cherry blossom. These trees bloom so spectacularly, and I never see anyone talking about them. I'll even forgive the movie for making them bloom out a season, since the pink ones usually show up from June to September and Carnaval is at the start of the year. I don't care. I'm just so happy to see them. And then the characters open their mouths, and it's... oh boy. One big gripe us Brazilians have with y'all gringos is that you think that just because we are in Latin America, we speak Spanish. We do not. We speak Brazilian Portuguese. Yes, they're similar languages, but to be frank, they're not that freaking similar. And half the time, these voice actors are not speaking Brazilian Portuguese. They are speaking whatever nonsense you think can pass for that. Take these two birds that Blue meets at the start of the film. Species-wise, they are meant to represent Brazilian birds, which is pretty cool. But when they speak, they are not talking like Brazilians would. They are clearly meant to be comedic Black American characters.
Swing that tail, eyes narrow, like some kind of crazy love hawk.
And sure, there's a point to be made about how Black Americans are often stereotyped in media and used for comic relief. But this is not that video. This is a video about Brazilian representation, and these two aren't that. Even when they do try to speak Portuguese, it's weird.
Yes.
Like, okay, he didn't say bienvenido, but that's also not how we say that. The O would be nearly silent, more like bem-vindo. Then we meet Jewel, the female macaw, and Anne Hathaway tries to speak Portuguese.
Quem é você? O que você está fazendo aqui?
And props to her, she almost gets it. She did a great job shortening the o que é que você to a que você. But on that note, we also would have shortened the está to just tá, making it more like a que você tá. And then on the word fazendo, she puts way too much emphasis on the D sound. We would make it almost silent, like a fazendo. Of course, you can speak all proper, like o que é que você está fazendo aqui? But the scene would call for a more desperate, shortened version, which she tried her best at recreating. And then Blue's like, help, and she's like,
Oh, you're an American.
and I'm like, so are you, apparently? When the heck did this bird learn English? What, did it take lessons at Fisk? Tulio is played by a Brazilian actor, but the rest of the Brazilian characters are not. They usually go for US Americans or Latinos. The evil guy trying to sell the birds is played by Carlos Ponce, who is Puerto Rican. The toucan Rafael is played by George Lopez. The kid is played by Jake T. Austin, who does have Latin blood, but is still not Brazilian. This is especially frustrating to me because Brazil is known for the strength of its voice acting industry. Brazilian dubs are held in high regard both nationally and internationally. There's even a joke about how many of our more casual dubs are made in Miami, because the hiring regulations are looser and so many Brazilians live there. If they wanted to find actual bilingual Brazilians, especially those with voice acting experience, they would not have a hard time doing so. It's sad that we never get represented in the first place, and when we do, we're voiced by George frickin' Lopez. And it does make a difference.
Hurry, you two! Vamos, vamos!
See? He's speaking Spanish! We don't say vamos, vamos. We say vamos, vamos.
Ay, caramba!
We wouldn't say like that either. It's caramba, not caramba. Yes, I am faulting a Latin American actor for saying things with a Spanish accent. Because he's not supposed to be speaking Spanish. His character should be speaking Brazilian Portuguese. But I happen to have a really easy fix for this. All you have to do is watch the Brazilian dub. Do you want accurate Brazilian voice acting with great songs and performances truly representing our culture and vocabulary? Watch the Brazilian dub. Yeah, but it's not the original dub. I need to put on subtitles. Oh, so you have to live through a fraction of the experience of watching movies that aren't made in your native language? Well, boo-hoo. Cry me a river. The dub is good, because Brazilian dubs always are. and you'll have Brazilian characters speaking actual Portuguese, not some barely disguised American accented Portuñol. So, there you go. With the voice acting fixed, this movie is surprisingly accurate in terms of representation, right? I'm impressed. I didn't think you gringos could pull it off. That's because you didn't. Because this movie was made by a Brazilian! Carlos Saldanha, the director of Rio, the man responsible for revolutionizing Blue Sky Studios, the mind behind Ice Age and the Communist Manifesto, robots, is 100% Brazilian, baby! I forgot about this. I completely forgot. So when I researched the movie after watching it and found out a Brazilian had made it, it all clicked. The chicken hearts, the favela layout, the one-real bill. You gringos wouldn't know about that. Even if you took a nice inspirational trip to Rio de Janeiro to get a grasp of the landscape, you would not talk about those things. He is Brazilian, and that makes me so ridiculously happy. And it shines even brighter in Rio 2. Okay, so in Rio 1 you had two big stereotypes, right? Carnaval and Rio. So now we gotta talk about the other two, soccer and jungle. I don't care about soccer, but they fixed that by having the birds play the game instead of humans, leading to some fantastic animation. And as for the jungle, well, Blue and Jewel have kids now and they gotta travel to the Amazon rainforest for plot reasons. But they don't just go straight to the jungle, no sir. They gotta fly over a bunch of scenic Brazilian locations. And let me tell you, seeing them on film was like seeing a celebrity. And then they go to the jungle, right? No! They gotta fly over Manaus, the city in the state of Amazonas. Because there's more to this country than pure untouched jungle. In fact, everybody keeps touching our gosh darn jungle, which is kinda where the villain of the movie came from. But okay, here's the city of Manaus, and I've been there, and it looks exactly like this. And now I'm seeing it on film, on an actual major studio film. And oh my god, that's the meeting of the waters. My good friend, meeting of the waters. Where the two rivers meet, and because of differences in temperature and density and speed, the waters don't immediately mix and form this visible division where they slowly merge. I'm genuinely pumped about this. This is true Brazilian hype. No one ever talks about the meeting of the waters when they show the jungle. And what's that? On the boat? Oh my god, they are sleeping in hammocks. Jesus flipping pancakes, this is just like real life. Okay, stay calm. Everybody, stay calm. And you might be wondering, like, okay, what's the big deal? A few months ago, I was working on a different project, and I had a conversation which inspired the video you're watching right now. When my mom asked me what script I was developing, I told her I was planning to talk about Garoto Cósmico, a Brazilian animated movie that had slipped through the cracks of the mainstream. And upon hearing this, my mom asked me, why? And really, I get the question. I have an English-centric channel. I speak in English. My audience speaks English, and nobody would have watched that film. I talk about obscure stuff every now and then, but I tend to focus on major releases, mostly by big international studios. Her question came from a place of natural curiosity. But it just got me thinking, why not? I'm Brazilian, but I chose to make videos in English. When I started the channel, it was because the kind of video essays I wanted to make were more of an English-speaking thing, so I knew I would have a bigger market if I focused on that language, as I didn't want to carve out a space from nothing. I wanted to join a conversation that was already happening, not try to start one in Portuguese. But there was also a part of me that felt like I had to, well, not hide my Brazilian side, but at least subdue it. It's not marketable. It's not relatable. It's taking a stance, and that's risky. On the internet, everyone can be neutrally English speaking. The universal language, the bulk of the web users. And it's not just me. Because when I talk about investigating Brazilian media, I am met with a why? Why would I do that? Why would I go outside of the mainstream? Why would I cease to be marketable? And, well, it's because I wanted to. It always is, that's why I make videos. But I also think it's important. We have to carve out a little space in this English-centric world. But even when we do it, we have to wrap it up in a way that English people can still buy it. We try to be marketable. Maybe if I can trick them into caring about what happens to us, what we make, what we are, maybe they'll get it. We'll lure them in with whatever appeals to them, and then try to make them see us. I feel like this movie is doing that too. It's the celebration of Brazilian culture, but it's what Americans already celebrate. It's carnaval, it's samba, it's futebol. It's Rio and the Amazon, because that's what they already know. You have to lure them in with that, and then show them a little bit of what lies beyond it. Not too much, or you'll scare them, just enough to maybe make them curious. It's Brazilian, but not too hard. Otherwise, it becomes unmarketable. Anne Hathaway speaks Portuguese, but only for one sentence, and then she switches to English, and no one questions why. It's the universal language after all, even for Brazilian birds apparently. Do you know how it feels? To be invisible, and then when you're seen, it's under the worst light possible? Do you know how miraculous it is when they finally see you for who you are? You Americans could never make an accurate Brazilian movie. Only a true Brazilian could represent us. And even then, they have to appeal to you, so you would finally care. Because otherwise, we're ignored, or misrepresented, or despised. I do not care for samba. I don't listen to it on my own time. I don't like to play soccer, and I don't support any teams. I don't go out on Carnaval. I appreciate the holiday, but I don't go to the street parties or wear shiny costumes. I have never been to Rio, and I don't plan to go anytime soon. It's just not that high on my list. I've seen Amazonas, as in the state, but I stayed in the city of Manaus, not the jungle. Brazil is too big. Being Brazilian is vague. We're not a monolith. Our experiences are too different, and as a white person living in one of the biggest cities in the world, sometimes I don't even feel like my experience fully represents what it means to live in Brazil. I do not love my country unconditionally. Politics sucks, there's corruption and violence and inequality, and we care too much about what other countries think of us. Because we kinda have to. So many countries do. We live at the mercy of international powers who are more than glad to reduce us to savage stereotypes. But to see us being represented like this, with love and care and detail, feels so different from what usually happens. Sure, it's trite and exaggerated and simplified, but there's still a deeper truth that you can't find anywhere else. If this is what it takes for us to be seen, then fine. Let's celebrate the parties, and the Amazon, and the soccer, and the barbecue houses, and the beaches. I might not care for samba, but as soon as a gringo opens their mouth to talk smack about it, I suddenly become the biggest samba fan on this godforsaken planet. It sucks that we have to market ourselves as relatable, that we have to dumb ourselves down so that we can be more palatable to those who don't even make an effort to see us for who we really are. But at the end of the day, a Brazilian man created this movie, and you watched it because it was a box office hit. And you already knew we ate picanha, but now you know we eat chicken hearts too. And it's delicious. So no, you crazy gringos did not make an accurate Brazilian movie. A Brazilian man did. And I don't even want you to make one. I just want you to let us make them. Give us a chance and let us be sincere and raw and different. Let us be us without demanding that we appeal to you. It's not like we need your permission, but we could use a little more empathy. And honestly, go try some chicken hearts. It might be new to you, but I promise you, it'll be worth it. Thank you for watching.
Well, hello there. It was very nice of you to watch this video. Special thanks to my beautiful patrons for making videos like these possible. You guys are the beer logo to my red plastic beach chair. If you have enjoyed the video, you can also help me out by clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell too. You can also follow me on a bunch of different places, such as Blue Sky, the website formerly known as Twitter, and my second channel. The link to all of those things will be in the description. Share this video with your friends if you're feeling extra generous. Feel free to leave a comment down below, especially if it is about how much you love Rio. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I can't even be like, ooh, Brazil is more than just samba, because while I was editing this video, someone was playing samba outside my window.